Thank you for joining us for this Destination UK update from English UK. I think we've got attendees arriving now. We've managed to make the tech work. I'm Jodie, I'm the Chief Executive of English UK. I'm here today also is Hugh Japes, the Membership Director, and Tim Barker, Business Development Director.
Hi, everyone.
And we are going to give you an update from English UK and an update on UK ELT and what is happening at the moment in the sector and what we're expecting to happen in the next few months. Thank you for inviting us to join the conference today. We're pleased to be here. So in terms of what's happened this year, I think the story of 2020 has been dominated by the impact of COVID-19, both on English UK, the association, all of our members, and UK ELT. The impact is unexpected and unprecedented. We're proud that our members adapted quickly and innovatively, always putting the safety and well-being of students first, and looking after the staff and the communities in which they are located. They pivoted to online delivery where possible, and we saw some 10 years of innovation in just 10 days. English UK as a national association has also pivoted our focus as we've adapted our strategy in response to COVID-19. Our aim is to support members through the crisis and to support the wider UK ELT sector and the wider global ecosystem, which includes, of course, all of our international partners. We cannot escape the fact, though, that the impact of COVID-19 has been and continues to be devastating for UK ELT, but perhaps with the vaccine around the corner, we are all hoping for a better 2021. In terms of our response, we, as I said, have pivoted all of our activities to focus on supporting our members and the wider global UK ELT community through COVID-19. We have been agile and listened, understood and responded to the sector's needs. We've provided expert advice and information sharing, both to members, the wider sector and to our international agent partners. A large part of our activities has been lobbying the government for fiscal and regulatory support. In terms of the community of peers, we have been facilitating peer-to-peer networking, and that community support, I think, has been more important than ever as we've all faced this crisis together. We have supported the international market, and we're looking to do that to maximise recovery moving forward. And of course, we've had to mitigate the impact on the association and manage our own financial risk, so that we are able to make sure that we continue to provide the critical services that members need and support the UK ELT sector and the wider global community of agents and sector suppliers. Our lobbying of the government has been focused around our position paper that we published back in the summer. It's a paper asking the government to help kickstart UK ELT after COVID-19. We have seen some really amazing support from the Department for International Trade for English UK members, but there are always some government departments that need a bit more persuasion about why UK ELT is so important to the UK and the UK's international education sector. So we continue to lobby the government, and you can read our paper and ask and see what we're asking the government for by downloading that document from our website. So where are we now in terms of the UK ELT sector and in the UK? Well, we are open, students are welcome, and we take safety very seriously. Minister Graham Stewart, the Minister for Exports, wrote a letter to international English language students of the world back in the summer, reiterating this message on our behalf. We are currently in a national lockdown in England, which is due to end on the 2nd of December, but centres are remaining open during this time, and they are all teaching in a COVID-19 secure way. We have provided detailed COVID-19 secure guidance and training to English UK members. And this covers all aspects of provision, from classrooms to accommodation, through activities and transport. ELT centre owners and directors in the UK have all had to think very carefully about how and when to reopen following the COVID-19 secure guidance that we've provided. Some of them have opened quickly during the summer, and others are waiting. So at the moment, we estimate that around 70% of English UK members are open for face-to-face teaching. Tim?
Thanks, Jodie. I'm just going to be peering over the top of my names here a little bit, but I am here. So as part of our response and recovery, we were able to publish our COVID-19 English UK Member Centre information for agents on reopening. This is really, really critical advice for agents, and we'll show exactly what English UK Member Centres are doing during the various stages of the pandemic, to show how they're keeping your students safe. One piece of key advice that we would give to all agents is to ask to see your ELT Centre partners' risk assessments. We take a risk assessment approach to all of the things that we do here at English UK and the advice that we give, and that's what our members do as well. Tell your students what to expect as well. This guidance will help you to tell them how to what to expect each different stage of their journey to the UK, and obviously, of course, stay up to date by keeping in touch with your partners and us at English UK to share information with the students. We have offered some student emergency support during the COVID-19 pandemic, and this is when courses are interrupted when a British Council accredited school or an English UK member centre closes permanently, which unfortunately we have had a few closures, and we will then help to find students an alternative course free of charge. We usually extend that only to those students who are currently on a course, but as a result of the pandemic and the disruptions, we've also extended that offer to those students whose courses had not yet started, but who had paid in full, and we are doing our best to find an alternative course for them, whether that be online or face-to-face, where that's possible. I'm going to pass on to Hugh for this bit.
Thanks very much, Tim. So obviously what we have coming up, as well as on top of the COVID pandemic, is Brexit from next year. So the main point about that is that there is an end to freedom of movement for EU, EEA and Swiss citizens from January 2021, from January the 1st, 2021. This means that EU and EEA and Swiss citizens would come in under the underlying immigration rules. But fortunately, and very positively, there has been some liberalisation of the visa routes for international students. And so we now have, from January, we will have 3 principal visa routes. So the main one that most of your students will need will be the visitor route. That's for anyone studying for less than 6 months. And that replaces what was previously the short-term study visa. So there's no more short-term study visa. There's just a 6-month visitor route. And people during that time, whether they're EU, EEA, or from wherever they are in the world, can come for 6 months and can decide what they want to do during that time. So if they want to study for the whole of the time for 6 months, then they can do so. Alternatively, they can combine study and travel, and their plans can change as well. Previously, under the old visitor route, those coming under that route could only study for up to 30 days within 6 months. But now they can study for longer than that, or they can study for the full 6 months. So it's a much more flexible route than the old short-term study route. And also, I think it points to a realization in government that ELT, English language students, behave very much like tourists and often want to be flexible about their plans. So this means that they can come as tourists. Some other points to note about this route are that if you just want to go back, Tim, to the old Jodie, rather. Yeah, there's a few things I want to say about it. Yeah. Some other things to note about this route are that if you are a non-visa national, And that will be all EU, EEA and Swiss citizens will count as non-visa nationals, as well as certain other nationalities like Japanese students or students from Korea as well can come as non-visa nationals. They will, from 2021, be able to simply enter with a passport, if they have a biometric passport or a machine-readable passport, using the e-gates, which will make it just as smooth for them to come into the UK as ever it was. So that's for most students. Obviously, what students can't do if they're from the EU is work during that time under this route. So you won't be able to work, but you will be able to travel or study freely. There's a couple of other routes as well that people need to be aware of. So there's the short-term student route. That is only for English language students, and it's for those coming between 6 and 11 months. This would require an entry clearance in advance. In other words, if you want to study English in the UK for, shall we say, 10 months or 11 months, you'll need to apply for a visa in advance. And also, if you want to stay for longer than that, you'll need to be with a sponsored provider who has educational oversight, and you will need to apply for a student visa. And that's for students wanting to study English for more than 11 months or any other course type for more than 6 months. So we still have this special concession of a special 11-month visa, the short-term student route for ELT. Okay, and just to reiterate the point that all EU, EEA and Swiss citizens will be non-visa nationals. So if they're coming for less than 6 months, they don't need to obtain a visa in advance. In fact, they don't even need a letter from their school because they will be able to go through the e-gates using their passports and study and travel as they want for a maximum of 6 months. Okay, Jodie, next slide. Now, one thing that we were facing was the possibility in January that everyone would need to come in under a passport. So they would have to have a passport, even if they were from the EU or EEA, an EU or EEA country where they had national ID cards. However, thanks to our sustained lobbying, the UK government has relented on this and has confirmed that you can continue, if you are an EU or EEA or Swiss citizen, you can continue to use your national ID card to enter the UK until the 1st of October 2021. Obviously, you won't be able to use, I think you won't be able to use the e-gates because the ID cards won't be accepted in that. But nevertheless, you will be able to get entry clearance using your national ID card until the 1st of October, which means that any groups coming next summer, for example, who do not, or some of them in the group do not have a passport or haven't applied for a passport, will still be able to use their ID card. So I think this is an important concession as we settle in to the new rules. Okay. Now, a few other important things to note as well. If anyone arrives before the 31st of December 2020 and is an EU, EEA or Swiss national, they can then apply for pre-settled status. This means that they would be able to exercise their right to free movement after the 31st of December 2020. But they do have to arrive in the UK before that date. They have to apply for their pre-settled status at any time before the 30th of June 2021. So we recommend, I know it's quite difficult at the moment because there are things like quarantining, etc., which makes things rather more complicated than they would have been. But nevertheless, I'd still recommend that anyone who wants to continue to work in the UK after January 2021 should come to the UK before the end of this year. They don't need to stay for very long, but they just need to have a UK address where they apply from, and then they can apply for pre-settled status. And after that, they will have the right to come and work and live here as it was before Brexit as well. A further point is that from 2021, all international students are only allowed to study at an institution that is accredited by one of the UK government recognised accreditation bodies. The main body for language schools, as most of you know, in the UK is the British Council, the Accreditation UK scheme, the inspection scheme. So we would recommend that all students coming here study either at an accreditation UK school or one that has educational oversight. So, but you do need to choose an accredited centre. Also, if you're on the student route, the longer term student route, one thing that will change, which is a very positive point to note, is that you will be able to switch to a new provider without leaving the UK. So let us say you want to study for, shall we say, 18 months at one language school and then move on to another type of institution after that point. You will be able to apply for a CAS, a confirmation of acceptance of studies, from that new provider and get your new visa for that course without having to leave the UK. Obviously, you have to meet the relevant academic and language requirements, but you will be allowed to switch courses and switch providers. So that's another flexible point. So it's visitor visa for most students studying for up to 6 months. Please come here before the 31st of December if you want to continue working here after 2021. Choose an accredited centre, preferably a British Council accredited centre, and you can switch courses as well if you're on the longer term student route. So some really positive messages there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep going with the positive, positive messaging because I'm feeling positive today. It's there's possible good news around vaccines, and things are looking. For the first time, I think we're seeing some green shoots or blue skies or all those kind of metaphors. I think I just wanted to reflect for the last few minutes on the UK ELT offer and as a whole, and the strength of the offer. And I think we start from a position that we are, the UK ELT sector is by far the #1 location destination for ELT students in the world in terms of student numbers. You see the chart here that our Insight partners Bonnard put together. The number of students, ELT students coming to the UK is by far and away higher than any other destination in the world. And that does give us a certain amount of strength and a certain amount of resilience in weathering storms such as COVID-19. And I think what we've seen, Jodie alluded to at the beginning, is how strong and how resilient our ELT sector is and will continue to be as we continue to come out of this particular crisis. If you could move on, Jodie. There are a number of things that make us #1. One of them is the breadth and the depth of the UK offer. This chart shows the geographical reach that UK ELT has. We have centres that go across the United Kingdom, rural, big cities, historic towns, junior centres, adult centres. We have, within our membership, we have high quality university partners offering English language teaching centres. We have private ELT centres who offer incredible courses to students all the way from year dot all the way up to mature learners. There really is nowhere in the world that can offer the kind of range and the kind of offer that the UK can offer in ELT. Our accreditation is unparalleled. It's the strongest accreditation scheme in the world, and that gives you and your students the peace of mind to be choosing a UK centre and know that you're going to get quality and that also you're going to get safety. And those things have maintained throughout the COVID crisis. And I think our response to it, our sector's response to it, shows how rigorous that process is. That COVID-19 Secure was just another challenge that centres would have to overcome in offering safety and security to students in something that they were used to doing already. Can we move on? Thanks. I think it's also worth noting, and the reason I highlight one of our events here is because of the participation in these kind of forums by our membership and by the wider by the UK ELT sector throughout this. We held a summit back in September, and we had over 100 member centres represented to meet with agents, to have over nearly 2,000 one-to-one meetings. The reason I think that's important to note is that these have been difficult times for the agent-educator relationship. But I think UK ELT has turned up to talk about it and to ask the difficult questions and try and answer them. And the summit was a great example of that. And I think this conference is also a great example of that, of not shying away from the difficult questions and being here throughout a very, very difficult time for everyone around the world by attending these kind of events and by talking about how we might be able to use these lessons that we've learned here to get stronger and for our sector and our partnerships to be stronger as we move forward past it. Our next event, and that's on the next slide, will be Study World, where we'll do this again. We are showing again, as Jodie said, that we are open, and our event is open to the whole UK accredited sector, boarding schools, colleges, FE, HE and ELT. And you'll see again in this kind of conference just how incredibly wide and how incredibly deep the UK offer is. We also aim to be informative. I love the information sharing element of this conference. Again, at Study World, you'll have experts on visas, on marketing strategy, on how to rebuild. It's obviously a global event. We're a global industry. And I think we also recognize that more than ever before, these kind of meetings are critical as we move forward, that clear agreements, professional contracts are as important as they ever were. It's great to have personal relationships, and one of the strengths of our industry is that we have personal relationships a lot of the time with our agents and our partners and our schools. But we have also learned, I think, that it's important to professionalize that sometimes and to have some kind of clear and transparent agreements between centres, and we're going to help to facilitate that. And to sort of summarize all these points, which is that we don't know very much ever at the moment. I think we've all given great presentations on a Monday, and then on a Tuesday had to change the whole thing. I feel positive today. I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'll feel less positive. That's the nature of the world we live in at the moment. But we do know a few things for sure. Whilst the future might be uncertain, we have shown, and we continue to show, that our UK ELT and our international partners are enterprising, innovative and agile. We are also realistic in our analysis that there will be some businesses that unfortunately will not survive this, but many, many more will. And I think the reason that they will is because their commitment to the belief that studying English in the UK has the power to change lives in their students and make our own country better is found across our industry. We are an industry of people who really, really care about what they do. And that's why they've continued to struggle on through nearly 9 months now of very, very little business. And I know that's why our international partners have continued to do so, because this is more than a business for most people. This is a lifestyle, and also this is a real culture and belief in what we're doing. Our aim, and we said this throughout and since the beginning, is that we don't return to normal, but that we have a better normal. And we're also very strong and firm in our belief that we are stronger together as a community, and that #1 position of the UK in the world isn't going anywhere anytime soon. We'll continue to be #1, and we look forward to returning your students to our shores very, very, very soon. That's a thank you from me, and
thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
You can contact us through our Twitter, through our website. My email is very, very visible to everyone, so you can also contact me through that. Thanks.
So good they named you twice, Tim.
Yes. And thank you all again for your time, and good luck with the rest of the conference.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. We'll try and stop the broadcast now. We're not sure if we can.
Otherwise, you might get some